Your time?
To the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing. Both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar pointing you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on
What's going on, good people? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Carter. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Welcome back.
Horseshack and all that.
Oh, you know it.
I remember back on it.
I know we dated ourselves with that one, so don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Welcome back, everybody, to Man Talk Mondays. It's good for us to be back with you. I'm Derek, the thought engineer, here with my man, comedian John Yogi. How are you feeling tonight,
man? I am good. I am ready to get into tonight's conversation. The show is getting to where all I think about is the show. I can shut Monday down.
Okay.
Because from the time I get up, I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna hit them tonight with the show. So yeah. So take Monday off the calendar. Y'all get Tuesday because Monday's ours.
Yeah. Listen, need y'all to lock in. Go ahead and lock in real quick. Let me let everybody know. Remind everybody. This is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we give you the rational realities of relationships. But of course, we're doing this from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind that this conversation is not just for men. We want everybody to join in and participate. Kinfolk, where you at? We want to hear from you.
Pull up.
Men, women, boys, and girls, how you join in the conversation? Go into the comment section, leave your comment, leave your question. We can see this, but this is how you talk to us, right? This is how you talk to us. So real quick, man, let them know what they need to do with the show. Real quick,
like, follow, and subscribe. Listen. Be a part of something great, because just because we aren't right there right now doesn't mean that the show doesn't have greatness within its grasp. So right now, like, share, and subscribe, and for our TikTok fans and followers, follow us and like us on TikTok, because we get the number to a certain amount, we can go live from there as well. So. Right now, we're going to get back to tonight's subject, but once again, like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Do that for you, boy.
Now, before we get into, I like to throw something at you.
Okay, let me get ready. Okay, I'm ready.
To see what you think about.
Okay,
it, right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I come across this video, and this young girl. You can tell she's young, you know what I'm saying? And she is going in because her boyfriend didn't pick up the hints that she was throwing at him. She was like, why we always gotta say everything explicitly? Why you can't take a hint and all of this type of stuff? How do you feel about all of this hints versus
just tell me what you want? Well, I think social media is partly to blame for that. I think we've kind of gotten into a thing now that where women want us to be everything. Not only do they want us to be providers, they want us to be their daddies, they want us to be their mind readers, they want us to be everything to them. And that's not to say that we're not in a position to where we can do that. But why not help us out? Listen, if you see we not getting it,
yeah.
If you see we not getting it, for the love of God, help us out.
Yeah, just help us out.
Just
Is that asking too much?
Leave some breadcrumbs around the house, write it on some little post-it notes, and leave it through the house to do some. Is it too much to ask to help us out?
I don't think it is. But I would venture to say that some women may feel that it is. Keisha Walker says, "Hey, brother, what's going on, Keisha? Kenpo, where you at? Pull up. Everybody want to hear from you. Hey, if you're a regular watching Man Talk Mondays, go ahead and drop a fire emoji in the comment section so we can see who you are.
Yeah.
No, you ain't got to say nothing. Just drop a fire emoji.
Put that fire on.
And if you can't do the fire emoji, just say, hey. That's all you got to do. Say, hey, so we know you there, right?
Everybody can't do social media.
I know. Let us know where you're listening from, too. We get people from all over the country. Some people out of the country, too.
But what's bothersome about the question that you asked me is people actually expect you to be able to read their mind, because this is not the first time this has come up with this particular person.
Yeah,
she has did this before with the guy, and she thought since he didn't get it last time, surely that he would get it this time.
Dr. Selena talking about y'all don't listen even if we write it.
Well, I'm simply saying then maybe you should tell us.
Yeah. Keisha says, they say you can teach an old dog new tricks, but you think it's possible. Keisha, you think it's possible to teach a dumb dog anything? Oh, okay.
I'm the dumb dog now, but when I had you, okay. I guess maybe I'm not the dumb dog.
How dumb I am when you need me to bite somebody? You know what I'm saying? You tug on somebody's leg. You know what I'm saying? How dumb am I then? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But communication is a challenging thing. It's a challenging thing, especially for relationships. And so,
I heard this the other day that says the worst thing about communication is assuming that someone else understands what you're saying. Assuming, just think about how important that is. Someone is assuming that you understand what they're saying, and they actually don't have a clue. What could be worse? So tell me what could be worse when they don't have a clue.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you, because it gets confusing. And we want to be able to do it effectively. Well, I don't even know if people really want to do it effectively. The way it's like somebody, they want an excuse not to really, or an excuse to what's the word I'm looking for? Make the other person look bad.
Okay.
Right?
Because they want their way.
Right. Or it's convenient for the victimhood. We get into that victimhood. Listen, a lot of people want to play the victim. I'm not just saying women. Everybody wants to play the victim because we glorify the victim today.
Well, it just depends on who's telling the story.
Oh man. What's your saying? You always say
either you the hero or the victim.
You're the hero
or the victim in the story.
Are you the victim in the story? So,
but it's not gonna be your fault.
Oh,
it's not gonna be
no. You never gonna be the villain.
If you tell never, not if I'm writing the story, I'm not gonna be a villain.
Albany says very selective hearing y'all have.
Well, listen. And you know what? I'm not gonna say we don't have selective hearing, but I'm gonna say this: it is your responsibility to make sure we understand exactly what you're saying and what you want to do. Now, get this. Did you hear what I said? It's your responsibility. It's not mine to understand. It's your responsibility to make sure I understand everything that is coming out of your mouth and that you need me to. It's your if you take it as if it's my responsibility now, it takes the burden off of me having to understand what in the hell you're talking about.
Keisha says, I'm so glad I tuned in because I'm dealing with this situation. Okay, nice. That was a serious question. Dumb dog isn't an insult. And it simply means a man or woman set in their ways. I can get that. I can get that. But
that ain't what no dumb dog is. You need to say something better than that.
But the set in the ways part, I can get that.
I can get that. We didn't say that part.
So if a person seems to be set in their ways, because it seems like a lot of times we want people to communicate based on how we receive information,
but
we don't consider how they receive information.
Yes, you're right.
I know, like teachers and people that teach, they deal with that a lot. They got to really check and see how the person is receiving stuff, and then they have to tailor what they're saying to them based on how they receive so they can get it. The thing is, do we care enough to make that adjustment?
I don't want to say we don't care enough, but I want to say everybody in it wants their way.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their way. And because I want my way, I want you to be able to receive it exactly like I'm giving it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and because you can't receive it or get it like I want you to, now I have an issue. And the biggest thing with couples, I believe anyway, is assuming from past things or people that I'm going to receive it like this or like that, when ultimately I'm different, and it's your responsibility to have me to figure it out in the way that's easiest for me.
Yeah. No, I absolutely get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. And this is why we really wanted to touch on this tonight, because, hey, that communication piece is huge. It is huge in relationships. And let me tell you, I remember my mom used to tell me something. She talked about driving. She says, you never become an expert. My mom used to say that about driving. She said, don't ever consider yourself an expert, because
fools out there.
Right. She said, drive for yourself and everybody else on the road. Meaning, don't ever get to the point where you think, oh, I got it, because that's when you start to get too lax.
That's when you get run over.
Right. Yes, right. Absolutely. So we talk about communication. I think we can get skills, but don't ever get too comfortable to the point to where you start to get lax, because
that's
relationships are dynamic.
That is a really good point. That's a really good point, because people tend to talk and deal with people according to how they deal with everybody. The one great thing about relationships is the equalizer. Relationships is the thing that's going to be different for everybody. And because it's different for everybody, you have to figure out what's going to work best for you and him. What's going to work best for you and your spouse or your partner, whoever it is. How can we begin to communicate with each other, and it's going to be beneficial, so both of us so I can make sure he knows what I want, and he can and he knows, and I know what he wants. So we gonna get into this tonight, and we got a special guest in the house with us. Joining us tonight, we got Pastor Ray Harmon from Converge Church in McKinney, Texas.
Amen.
How you feeling tonight, Pastor?
Fantastic,
Harmon?
Man. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be with you guys tonight on Man Talk Monday.
Yes.
Let's get it.
Did you get a chance to look at the show?
I did.
Did you like it?
Wonderful couple, man. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was good. A good opportunity to prep, man. It was good. Really good.
Yeah. So if you're not doing the thing, go back and check Love After 40. That's the show he's talking about. You want to go back and check that one out. We had the Davises on that night. Great show. So definitely go back and check it out.
Most of y'all after 40. So go check this
out. Right. We know who listens. So Pastor Ray is our resident expert tonight. He's going to be the one. Now, I say that because I'm going to tell you, my man John visits the church.
Okay.
Go ahead and run it down. Go ahead and run it down.
Right now, me and my wife are in between churches. You like here? So my wife visited Pastor Harmon's church, Converge Church, and she came back and she was like, honey, you and Derek have to hear this message, because he was talking about communication.
Yeah.
And he broke that thing down to the essence of the trick. And I visited the next week, and I couldn't write enough notes. And I said, we have to get this guy for the show. So I'm sure he has a lot to offer, and you guys are gonna be blessed by this guy being on tonight.
I'm gonna get Keisha says, thank God you said he's a pastor, because the way he just popped up on camera threw me off and I almost cussed. Yeah, hold it in, Keisha. Hold it in. Yeah, little man talk Monday magic. We just, you know what I'm saying? We do a little bit every now and then. But I got a chance. So he came back, you know, he called me the same day he sat and he heard the message. Wow. He was like, man, you got to hear this message. Wow. You got to hear this message. Let me say, awesome. So tonight we're talking about, can we talk for a minute?
Yeah.
Keys to healthy communication and relationships. That's what we're talking about, right? I know some of y'all singing the song right now. Tevin Campbell, y'all singing it. Can we talk? I know y'all singing it, right? Classic. Go ahead and sing it. We cool.
Classic.
Cool. But when it comes to relationships, communication is a huge piece. So when I heard the message, I was like, wow. And I'm hoping we can touch on a lot of it, but it was so much in there. But you said the message came, it was sparked by the song Verbalize.
Yes, indeed.
By Stokely. Stokely, that used to be the lead singer for Mint Condition. So what was it about that song that sparked this whole thing?
Yeah, for me, it was just really authentic, really honest, right? And Stokely, as a songwriter, spoke to exactly where most people are. I've been in some type of full-time vocational ministry for over 20 years.
Okay.
And when I sit across some couples and walk them through some of the conflict they're experiencing, top three going to be communication.
Okay.
Or issues with communication or the lack thereof. It's going to be about sex and it's going to be about money.
It's going to be about sex. It's going to be about sex.
But the truth is, right, is when you think about even sex and money, at the root of it is an inability or difficulty to communicate about those things. So at the root of even those two, sex and money, is a difficulty or challenges around communication.
Oh, wow.
And so when I heard the song, just the hook, right? A girl, I just can't read your mind.
Yes.
Why you mad? Use your words. You see how hard I'm trying.
Yes.
So why this game of Jeopardy tonight? And so it's almost this appeal to take all the assumptions, all the guesswork out of communication, and to start to truly verbalize and clearly articulate what you're feeling, what you're struggling with. And I think that's where the difficulty is a lot of times.
Now we just said a minute ago, because we talked about, came across a video of this young lady. She was upset because she just expected her boyfriend to get the hints.
Right.
She's like, why do we have to say everything explicitly for you to get it?
Yeah.
Do you run into that when you can say you counsel? Do you run into that whole, but he should know, or they should know? You run into, how do you deal with that when you come across somebody who is set like that?
Yeah, we encourage couples to clearly articulate what they're feeling. And so we use what we call XYZ statements. Okay. And the XYZ statements are, when this happens, that's the X. When X happens, I feel Y, I need Z.
Okay.
What we discover, and part of the reason we use the XYZ statements is because it depersonalizes it.
Okay.
And you're not pointing fingers at the other person. So instead of saying you always, or when you do this, instead of saying that, you say when X happens. You describe whatever the thing is. I feel Y.
Okay.
So you're taking the pressure off the person. You're not pointing a finger at them, but you're communicating to them clearly how you're experiencing them in the moment. And then you go on to Z and say, well, this is what I actually need. This is what I need that I'm not getting from you. The difficulty is sometimes an individual is able to express what they're feeling, but they can't always communicate what they need instead. And it's the wildest thing, man, for me, because people say, I don't want this, but I can't tell you what I really want. It's wild, man. It's wild. So that's been one of the techniques that we use, and then we walk them through some practical steps to actually get to what they want.
Okay, let me get this comment real quick. Brenda says, just like your jobs have annual reviews, relationships need the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so she's talking about sitting down annually and just doing a whole review about how well have we done with this communication thing.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely essential because people grow, right?
Yes,
and when you grow, you change, you evolve. Right. And your preferences change. The things that you thought were attractive before may change. In fact, I watched an interview, and it was an Australian billionaire. And this is what he said. They asked him, what do you appreciate most about your wife? And he said, what I appreciate most about my wife is that she has adapted to the 9 men I have become over the course of our relationship.
Nice.
Meaning he evolved, he grew.
Yes.
And she was able to adjust and adapt. I think one of the challenges with relationships is if you're not growing together,
yes,
you're growing apart.
Yes.
But you're growing nonetheless.
You're growing nonetheless.
Right.
But if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. And to the lady who sent in the note, what ends up happening is you begin to build resentment against your partner. What that resentment looks like is one person feels like the other person is slowing them down. And the other person feels like you've left me behind. Because you're not growing together, you're growing apart. And that distance that happens over time makes one person feel like, man, you've left me behind. Right. And the other person feels like you're slowing me down. And you see what I'm saying?
And resentment is a strong word.
No, it's very real.
Resentment comes out of nowhere. You look up and we skipping along, and all of a sudden you resent me, and like, whoa, where did resentment come from? It used to be love. Google eyes. Now it's not that anymore. Now because you feel like I'm leaving you.
Yes.
You feel like we're not growing together. And that's wow. Okay.
I want to get into that a little bit more. Let me get this comment. Afia says, I don't get hints at all. Tell me. So Afia said, you gotta say it. Just gotta say it. But you explaining that, you just describing that. I see the communication gap. And how detrimental it can actually be. You had a quote by, I think it was George Bernard Shaw in the message that you put. What was that quote? And if you could just kind of give people an explanation of that.
So George Bernard Shaw said the problem with communication is the illusion that it has occurred.
Wow.
So that's the problem, right? Right. When we say stuff and we assume I just communicated. But there's the sender. There's also the receiver.
Right.
And just because you sent it doesn't mean the receiver heard it the way you intended for them to hear it, because every receiver, every hearer also has a filter. So whatever a person says goes through that person's filter, and it can be altered, tainted, contaminated, and misunderstood. So there's a lot of layers to it. And so one of the things we try to encourage couples to do. Oh, go ahead, Yogi.
You mean they filter ain't like mine?
We supposed to have the same.
We supposed to be one. You mean to tell me I can actually tell you something? I'm trying to communicate something with you. And you don't get it the way I put it out, that is blasphemy.
Who is this woman?
How could you take this wrong? It was meant this way. How can you possibly receive it wrong? And I meant it this way. How could you? You should know me. More importantly, you should know my heart by now.
Know that heart.
And in those moments, man, when there's conflict, a lot of times we can miss that. A part of the reason for that is over time, right? Our filters can get clogged. Meaning, if we don't address the things that need to be addressed, our filter will collect the dust, the pollen, the allergens. And what that looks like is like resentment. And so the way my wife and I describe resentment is like you're living on low simmer. You didn't really, how I don't cook. Well, I dabble. But when you're getting ready to cook something and you got to heat the oil, but it's on maybe like 4 or something, and you don't know how hot the oil is until you drop some onions in it. Come on, that's where most people live. They live on low simmer. And John Gottman, University of Washington psychologist, professor, talked about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in relationships, right? So he uses this analogy from the book of Revelation. And he said that if these 4 things exist in your relationship and you don't confront them, you don't address them, right? And the way we say it is you can only conquer what you confront. You can only confront what you identify, right? And so Gottman says—
Let me skip over that. You can only conquer what you can confront. You can only confront
what you identify.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
God is confrontational, right? The word confront means to come face to face. A lot of times we think confrontation is a negative word, but God is confrontational. We see it in the Garden of Eden. So God gives Adam an instruction. Adam and Eve disobey the instruction, and God shows up and he said, Adam, where are you? What he's saying is, now, Adam, don't pretend like that didn't just happen. We're not going to pretend and walk around on eggshells
Right.
like you didn't just obey me. Disobey me.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to pretend like something ain't off right now.
Yeah.
And God confronts him and he says, Adam, where are you? Where you at, man? Let's talk about this, right? God says to Adam, can we talk for a minute?
Yeah.
And God confronts Adam and said, Adam, where are you? Adam says, I'm naked. I'm hiding. God says, who told you were naked?
Right. Right.
Then he goes into the whole thing. It's not my fault. It's really your fault, God, because it's the woman you gave me.
Yeah.
I would have been good,
Yeah.
but it's your fault, right?
Yeah.
So God is it's right.
Is that
So God is confrontational because he wants to, he's not asking Adam where he is because he can't find Adam. It's not about where he is physically or geographically, it's where he is in his heart.
Yeah.
And God wants him to identify what got him to this place. And instead of taking ownership, he shifts blame. A lot of times in relationships, we see that happen.
Yes.
And
Right.
instead of taking ownership for our part in why things aren't working, we shift blame. And you'll never get to the root of the issues, the challenges in a relationship if you're constantly shifting blame. And what ends up happening is we build resentment. So
Yeah.
Gottman calls resentment contempt. Contempt is when you're living on low simmer. And it's almost like you never deal with it. So like you said, it's like all of a sudden, man, something just happens, because it's never resolved. So you're walking on fault lines.
Yeah.
And at any moment, man, just one thing will be that tipping point.
And you be trying to figure out the whole time, because if you're on low simmer, as soon as something is dropped in it, now it's a blow up.
Yeah.
And the partner is trying to figure out what in the world happened. Why are you so upset about this? We just were talking. We were just doing this and that a minute ago. Now you are enraged. What is going on? And they didn't have no idea that you've been simmering the whole time.
Yeah.
It's the picture in Ephesians chapter 4. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath.
Your anger. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On your wrath. And give no place to the devil, or do not give the devil a foothold. The resentment builds because we never deal with it. Right.
Yeah.
What I've learned is a lot of times people don't deal with issues in the relationship because they feel unsafe.
Oh, yeah.
They feel unheard.
Yeah.
They feel unseen. So again, Genesis 3, the model there is the scripture says that Adam and Eve were both naked and unashamed, right? That speaks of a physical nakedness, but it also speaks of a transparency and a vulnerability where they were in each other's presence and safe. And so there's 5 levels to communication.
Okay.
The first 2 are purely transactional.
Okay.
And the next 3 are transformational, but most people never get to levels 3, 4, and 5 because they feel unsafe.
So what is 1 and 2?
1 and 2. Okay, level 1 is just cliches, right?
Okay.
So you say, hey, how you doing? You okay? Is it hot outside? That kind of stuff, right? It's just
surface stuff.
very surface stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
That's level 2, just cliches. Just the kind of thing that you'll say in the morning to your spouse or to your kids, right? A level 2 is actually facts and information. Do the kids have any games today? Who's picking them up, right? It's very transactional.
Communication,
right?
To make the house go. Okay.
To make the house work, or whatever you need to do. And most couples live on levels 1 and 2 because you can get through your day.
Yes.
Your family can function. And
the kids get picked up, everybody good. The house seems to be going like it's supposed to.
Right.
Yes.
Everything's functioning, but it's only transactional. Most people never get to levels 3, 4, and 5 because level 3 is transformational, and that's when you begin to communicate your ideas and your opinions.
Ideas and opinions.
Yes, sir.
So wait. So you said most people don't get here?
No, sir.
They don't get the ideas and opinions, but that's the foundation of relationships.
Absolutely, because it's unsafe. Because there are couples where a spouse might say, man, I've been dreaming about starting a podcast, starting a business, but because they're in a relationship with someone who is unsafe, they shoot them down. Or the first time they expressed an idea, the person they're in the relationship with had a better idea, right? Or they had an opinion, and that opinion was met with what the other person thought was a better opinion.
Right.
And over time, you cultivate a relationship that is unsafe.
Yeah.
Because my ideas aren't as valid and my opinions aren't as valid as yours.
But all we trying to do is help. If they come to us with something, we are fixers and solvers. Yeah. And if they come with us with something, we're constantly thinking of ways to help it be better for them. It's not just about me. I'm trying to make things easier. That's my intention. But if a filter is clogged,
we got
dirt, mud, and mosquitoes and ants and all that, it's not gonna receive it right. Or is that my fault?
Well, I think it works both ways, right? But to your point, right? I think we want to create safe environments where people can be authentic, where they can be vulnerable and transparent, where you don't weaponize their vulnerability or their transparency and use it as a weapon against them. So the rule of thumb, or one of the principles we see in scripture, is James chapter 1, be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, quick to hear. So the way Covey puts it in I think it's habit 5 of his 7 habits of highly effective people. He says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. One of the challenges in communication is typically people seek not to understand, they listen to respond.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
All the time.
Because if I'm not listening to you and understand, I just want you to stop so I can talk.
Right. Yeah. And when we do that, we create unsafe environments. It was one of the challenges my wife and I had early on, right? Because she would share an idea, an opinion, and I would come back with another idea, another opinion, or sometimes she just wanted me to hear what she had to say.
That part.
Not to solve a problem. And as men, we are fixers. And what we tend to do is try to fix things that our significant other only wants us to feel. Not to fix it. To feel it.
Okay, ladies, y'all can sit down in the studio. Sit down in the studio.
Now, listen, I know y'all enjoying this. I know, listen, if you have questions, you don't get them in now. Get them in now so we can ask the pastor why he's sitting here, right? So if you have a question, you have a comment, make sure you drop it in so we can get it in, right? All right, so we got a few of them. So let's get them real quick. No. Okay. So we don't. All right. She was it. Go on to number 4. Number 4. You talk about the five things. Number 4. Number 3 was ideas and opinions. Number 4 is actually feelings. Right. So ideas and opinions are just your thoughts about something, right?
But we got to feel too.
Gotta feel. Oh, man. Come on, that's a whole other realm for us, man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're wired to fix.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not used to feeling. In fact, early on as men, we're taught that there's something weak about feeling, right? So my son, and I think he was maybe about 2 years old, or maybe a little bit younger, because he was too young to communicate what he was feeling. But he got to a certain age where when he was frustrated, he would just start to scratch himself.
Oh, wow.
And he would start to tug and pull at his clothes.
Trying to figure out how to deal with, trying to figure out how to express it.
Right.
Yeah.
So then my wife, who has, she's an educator and just has a ton of experience with kids. One day she sat him down and had a conversation with him. I don't remember everything she said to him, but my son, man, let out this belly, like gut wrenching cry. I still don't have any idea what that was.
Oh, wow.
But after he did that, never happened.
Yeah.
As men, often we internalize our frustration. There was something that was frustrating him that he hadn't learned how to verbalize or articulate.
Right.
Let me say this about men. It's easier for us to say, I'm mad, I'm angry, than to say, I'm hurt.
You know, I heard somebody say that.
Oh, wow.
They said men revert to anger.
Yes.
Because it's the only emotion that's socially acceptable without us making us feel like we're weak.
100%. And so we condition our kids, we socialize our boys especially not to feel.
Yes.
And then we marry them off to somebody else's somebody else's daughter, and then they don't know how to go there emotionally.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the way Zig Ziglar said it is, every child is born to win, but along the way we condition them to lose.
Yeah.
So I think we're created even as men to feel, but instead of feeling, we've learned to fix what we should feel. And so
now I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna cut you off there.
No, you're good.
I didn't get this at the church yesterday. When I didn't get this. I didn't get this for. I'm saying that I did not. So if
this unplugged, right? It's unplugged.
Unplugged.
All the men of the shock like I am. Yeah, I'm shocked too because I didn't get this yesterday. But this is good stuff, now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. So feelings. Then people are afraid to communicate how they really feel.
Yeah.
And so you never get to level 5, which is intimacy. So the first 2 are just transactional.
Yes.
You can go. In fact, you can be in a relationship with somebody for years, for even decades, just living on the transactional.
Yes.
Because everything's working, everything's running, but you never venture into the true, a deeper, more intimate communication because it is unsafe. It's risky to cross that because I feel unsafe, I feel unheard, I feel unseen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people can stay married for years in there.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that, especially kids get involved. I think the transaction thing gets higher because you're communicating about the kids.
Right.
You know, this one has this going on, but getting into that thing where you're actually talking to each other about what's going on inside of you
Internally.
Yeah. It's like it's more distractions to keep you from that.
Well, that's why so many marriages when the kids are gone.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
we have to start dealing with each other.
Yeah.
And there's no kids to ask about. Now we got to talk to each other again. Now we got to
COVID.
Right.
COVID.
Yeah. Huge.
Yes.
Huge.
A lot of people found out.
Yeah.
I don't really like you.
Right.
When COVID hit, there was a lot of couples that, because I had this job away from home and you had your job away from home, I could leave and spend some time away from you. But when I had to be locked in with you,
24/7.
Yeah.
Oh boy, because what do we talk about?
Yeah. So transactional relationships, right? And a lot of times we confuse proximity for intimacy.
Say that one more time.
A lot of times we confuse proximity for intimacy, right? So you got a husband and wife.
Yes.
And this is when we face the world, right?
Yeah.
It's side by side like this. And so you can even have 2 people holding hands side by side. That is proximity. They're standing side by side. And that's good because that's how we face the world. That's how we parent. That's how we do most of the things that we do. But there's a higher level, and most of us don't get to that because proximity says we're looking outward. We're looking outward.
Right.
Intimacy says we're turning inward.
Wow.
Proximity happens side by side. Intimacy happens face to face.
Wow.
And so it is possible to have a very transactional relationship where 2 people are side by side. They're in the same bed.
Right.
They're in the same car. They're in the same restaurant at the same table, but they're never face to face because turning inward means I got to look you eyeball to eyeball.
Wow.
And am I safe with you is the question that most people aren't comfortable asking. So what we do is we trade off for side by side relationships. I'll take proximity over intimacy because proximity isn't as risky as intimacy.
And you can easily
side
find
side,
comfort
face
in
to face.
You can easily find comfort in that.
Yeah,
right.
More so than you can
this right here.
Yes,
because it's easier. Because there's people tend to come together if there is a common enemy they share.
Absolutely.
100.
And if it's us against the world,
Yes.
Here it is, Detroit versus everybody. I wore my hoodie today, and this is what I wore. My wife just came back from Detroit. She went to lay her father to rest, and he was a Detroit native man, loved Detroit, but he was a man of few words.
Wow.
And so I was coming tonight, and I was like, wow, few words, but extremely profound. It was like that old commercial from the 70s, man, when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens. And so I came out tonight, I put on this hoodie because I wanted to sort of dedicate this to him. But that's what happens, right? It's us against the world.
Yes.
That's proximity.
Yes. That's proximity.
But if sometimes we're okay with that, but there's a higher level, and that's turning inward, not just side by side, face to face.
Right.
Yeah.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, it gets to a point to where in fighting me against the world, you start to lose the battle because you haven't actually had that
face to face.
That face to face. And once you start getting whooped, now you like what we do, and now it's time to do that, but it's hard to do.
I'm gonna take you a step further.
Go ahead.
That's why they say it's important for you guys to pray together.
Oh man,
because if y'all don't pray together, she could be praying something that's, and you could be saying something completely different.
Wow.
And it's like, but I thought it was understood that we pray. This is we praying for this. Why not? Well, I wanted it this way. I thought like this. So that's why it's so important that we pray together.
Yeah.
So do you feel we operate on assumptions a lot in marriage?
Yeah, we do, because we don't, communicate honestly, or we don't articulate clearly what we're feeling.
You said honestly.
Yeah.
Why would there need to be honesty in marriages unless there's not honesty in the marriage up front?
So I think honesty ought to be the cornerstone of every relationship, right?
It ought to be.
It ought to be.
Yes.
How do I say it? There's a thought rolling around in my mind. Honesty ought to be automatic, but trust is built over time. It's two different things, right? If I'm honest, then I give somebody the opportunity to trust me.
Right.
So what I owe every person that I'm in a relationship with is my honesty.
Yes.
And over time, when I'm consistently honest, it cultivates trust. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Let my yea be yea, my nay be nay. Right.
We were talking about that recently.
Yeah.
And because the Bible was talking about when you start filling up your words instead of just saying yea, if anything extra comes along, it's
man.
You start to kind of muddy the water type situation.
100%.
Yeah, I just want to say like, share, and hit that subscribe button. If this is good and you think this could be a blessing to somebody, like, share, and subscribe. And for all of our TikTok followers and fans, because we celebrities now. I don't know how you be celebrities but anyway, you don't have gas money, but that's a whole nother thing. We're not talking about that. So with our TikTok fans, y'all like and follow us, because we're trying to do some special things on TikTok. If we get a certain amount of followers, we can go live from there as well. But again, like, share, and subscribe. And don't be stingy and selfish. Tell somebody about the word tonight, because I know this is a blessing for you guys. And again, now back to, can we talk?
Yeah.
4 minutes. Keys to healthy communication in relationships.
Let me get this comment coming in. Okay, Cheryl says, being on the same page takes work. What would be the first step to getting on the same page?
Yeah, again, it sounds sort of extremely simplistic, but you have to communicate, man. You have to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And you have to set time aside to have those conversations. And I think that's where it starts. You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate. Everything we have in life it comes either by design or by default.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Either it's what we create or what we tolerate. Yeah. Everything you have. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your relationships, in your marriage, you have to ask yourself, is this something that exists because I authorized it? Or is this something that exists in my life because I just allowed it to? Does that make sense?
No. Yeah.
So you have to be intentional about your relationship. It'll either be the relationship you want because you designed it that way,
right? Or
it's the relationship that you have by default because you haven't intentionally cultivated what you want in your relationship. So you have to get together. You have to have those conversations. In fact, every year it's important to have a marriage vision conversation. Get away with your spouse. Get away with your spouse. Maybe a weekend, and all you talk about is where are we? How are we doing?
Right.
Where do we see ourselves relationally in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc. And that's how you get on the same page, right? Because again, people naturally, if they're not growing together, they're going to grow apart. It just naturally happens,
right?
And it has to be on purpose,
right?
100%,
right?
It's not by chance. It's by design, not by default.
Need one of them sticks in the ground. They put them trees when they start growing crooked, tied up. You put a stick in the ground, tie the tree to a stick to make it grow straight. Yeah. You'll see people do that. Yeah, you need something like that. Ephia says sometimes people don't agree because of who it's coming from, not that it doesn't make sense to do. Okay.
Well, all I can think about it, and I know I'm not. Y'all hear me every week, but all I can all I can think about is if there is a safe space created, then everybody can get in that, ensuring that, and they know that their opinion will be validated. They know their opinion will mean something. And I think we don't create enough safe spaces in our relationships for us to do that, because you'll never get to 3 if the safe space is not created.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So because I want to make sure, because I did listen to the message. I want to get into this.
Yeah.
You said, if I'm not mistaken, truth plus
trust
equals transparency.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Because when you got into that truth part, that was a personal thing about that truth that you described. Can you let the people know what is it about truth, that personal part of truth?
Yeah. How do I say this? This is one of the lessons I learned about truth. Truth may hurt, but it will never harm.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the truth heals.
Yeah.
So several years ago, I was in a car accident, and I had to go to the chiropractor a couple times a week.
Right.
And whenever I got on that, the contraption, whatever it was, man, it hurt when I had to make those adjustments.
Right.
That hurt. But none of what the chiropractor did harmed me.
Right.
Ultimately, it brought healing. A lot of times we're afraid of the truth because sometimes hearing the truth hurts.
Right.
So we avoid it, but ultimately the truth heals. Right. And so there's something about truth that we all have to make a commitment to be. You're thinking about that.
I just heard this pastor say, I just heard this pastor at church I was visiting say, the truth can get your head cut off.
Yes, sir. It got John the Baptist's head cut off because he was a truth teller, right? He was committed to it, right? But we have to create environments, right, where it's safe enough to be truthful and honest, right, with the person that you're in relationship with. And so this is how we approach truth, right? Truth, we should speak the truth in love.
Yes.
Ephesians chapter 4, right? We should speak the truth with grace, because truth without grace is mean, but grace without truth is meaningless.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have to be able to speak truth with grace so that the person can receive it. All right. A lot of times people push back, not because they don't like the message. The problem is the messenger.
Oh, yeah.
So the individual who said this is sometimes it's hard to hear what they're saying because I know how they've been. Right. So even though what they might be saying is true, it's valid, we miss the message sometimes because of our disdain for the messenger. And it's unfortunate, right?
Wow.
And that don't mean that it was wrong.
It doesn't mean it's wrong.
It just
No, you're right.
I can't hear it from you.
You're right.
It's a lot of times like my kids. We can tell them some over their favorite auntie, Uncle John, saying the exact same, and boom.
Right. I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. Right? Husband saying something at home. She get to church and the pastor say the same thing. And he's like,
that's what he's saying. Right. So truth matters, right? Because it's the foundation of every relationship. You want to bring honesty. You want to bring truth to the table, because truth will result in trust. And when people trust you, when someone trusts you, they can be transparent. They can be vulnerable. So the way James said it, right? And I think this is why it's so important. The way James said it, James chapter 5, and this is about transparency.
Right.
He's talking about transparency in the context of the local church, in the community, your faith community.
Right.
But I think it also applies to marriage.
Yes.
He says, confess your faults one to another. Pray for one another that you may be healed. Sometimes we miss this because we don't realize that when we pray to God vertically, we're forgiven.
Right.
But when we confess our faults one to another, we're healed.
Yes.
A lot of times we don't experience the healing we need because we're not in safe environments where those two things can happen, where we can confess our faults, or we can talk about the things that are we're struggling with.
Right.
And then what happens is we can pray for one another, and that's where the healing happens. That healing is available in your relationship, in your marriage, if you will create an environment of safety where your spouse can speak truth to you without fear of her truth being weaponized against her.
Now, you talking about a workshop?
Yeah, man.
You talking about a workshop. you could just do a pure workshop on how to create a safe space for your spouse. I guarantee you the place will be packed.
You can do a workshop on it because people don't do that in relationships. Relationships come in, they lying when they get into relationships.
Right.
People don't be honest because I can't be honest with you because I don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
I can't be honest because I don't want you to see who I really am because I might not be chosen. Right. So if you get let's say you get married under those false pretenses. Now there's no trust. I can't trust you because I don't trust me. Right. I know I've lied. I know what I've done. Now we're trying to find trust in a relationship and we can't find it.
Yeah. I watched the podcast you guys did, Love Over 40. Yeah. And that's one of the things the young lady said. I think she dated 2 or 3 guys. Yeah. And they all lied. Yeah. They were all liars. You know? Exactly. And that's a big deal, man, because once trust has been violated, it's really hard to restore. It's possible, but it's hard to restore. And you want to be in a relationship where there's truth and trust so that you can truly be transparent.
Well, relationships are difficult enough when you're telling the truth. When it's you against the world, it's difficult enough because life is tough. It just means that much more having somebody side by side with you that you can trust and that you can depend on, that you know is not that has your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
I remember Les Brown. You say you make your way hard, life will be easy. But if you make your way easy, life will be hard. And I can see that because let me make my way easy. So let me skate around the truth because I want things to be easy. Whereas, like you said, it's going to be rough on the front end, but does it smooth out on the back end to where now we can really find that freedom that we need to actually exist. So how can a person have truth in a relationship if they're not true with themselves?
Yeah, that's where it begins, man. It begins with a man in the mirror. And so one of the things that we say at Converge Church is there comes a time in your life when you have to stop looking out the window and start looking in the mirror.
I like that.
When we look out the window, typically what we're doing is we're blaming everybody else for what's not right in our lives. But when we look in the mirror, we have an opportunity to tell ourselves the truth first. Yeah, it's hard to be a truth teller to others, right? When you've grown accustomed to lying to yourself.
Wow.
But are you with me?
No, I'm not. Because you looked at me when you said, no. I'm not looking in that mirror because I got a slim mirror that make me tall. Right.
I think the problem is most people windows are huge.
Yes,
huge, but their mirror. Their mirror, that little compact. Remember the little compact your mom used to carry in a purse? That's the mirror.
That's the mirror, man.
But you're absolutely right, though. I mean, I think the most difficult thing for people to do, that's why I think me and Dave were talking about this, where you always got to have some music. You always have to have something going because you don't want to deal with what's going on in your head. Just like you don't want to look in that mirror because that thing is dealing with you.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's constant. Yeah. The person looking in the mirror.
The person looking in the mirror.
Yeah. I think 100%. Silence can get uncomfortable. I remember being in church and it was during prayer. And it's amazing how uncomfortable people are with silence in prayer.
Yeah.
If you just say, everybody, let's just be quiet and just see if God is speaking. And somebody got to say, yes, Lord.
Yeah. Or start clapping.
People are so uncomfortable. Even in church, people are uncomfortable with silence. Yes. And I think it's because there's something about us. We know, something's off.
Right.
But if I stop long enough, it catches up with me.
Yeah. How much easier is it for me to deal with your issue than it is for me to deal with
man.
It's just too, it ain't even fair how easy that is.
Remember your grandma used to sit at the window and watch everybody? That's what you doing. You sit at the window watching everybody.
Every grandmother sit at the window because mine used to sit right there with
the police scanner right beside her. Remember the police scanner hitting everybody's business?
Yes, everybody's business.
That's so true because I think even Jesus spoke about that in the Gospels when he said, man, listen, and we talked about this yesterday in the service. It's so easy, man, to ignore the log that's in your eye.
Yes.
And try to take the speck out of your brother's eye. And what we said yesterday was sometimes the log or the speck that you think is in your brother's eye is a direct result of impaired vision.
Wow.
You think they've got a speck But the reason you think they've got a speck is because you got a log in your eye.
Wow.
And eye surgery is so delicate that you can't do that kind of surgery on somebody else if you haven't dealt with the log in your eye.
Right.
And so what Jesus was saying is, it's so much easier to look at the speck or look out the window at somebody else than it is to see or deal with the log, much bigger. And what I've learned is when I have dealt with the log in my own eye, which is akin to a filter, a clogged filter, when I dealt with that filter or the log in my eye, I realized when I looked at my wife, there wasn't a speck in her eye after all. That was just because of the distortion in my vision, because I hadn't dealt with the log in my own eye.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question real quickly, because based on that, because you said that log in your eye damages your perception.
Yeah.
And you said eye surgery is hard. So do you have to rely on somebody else to help you get that out of your eye?
Let me say this. We all have blind spots. That's why I thank God for the new technology. Nobody has a 360 degree appreciation of themselves, right? So let me grab this bottle for a second.
Yeah.
What does this bottle say, Doc?
Aquafina.
Okay. Now I could argue all day long.
There's somebody else on the other side.
Yeah. On this side it says Echo Aquafina, and it says all this other stuff. This is what we do when we have conflict in relationships. One person sees Aquafina, the other person sees this side of the label,
and we argue.
And you argue about what the bottle says.
Yeah.
The bottle says both.
Right.
You just can't see what I see.
Yeah.
But what I see is just as real as what you see. And what we are unwilling to do is come around to the other side to see what they see.
Yeah.
We all have blind spots. And one of the things we say about blind spots is, you have a blind spot when you are oblivious to what is obvious to everybody else.
Oh, wait a minute, stop.
You gotta run that back one more time.
Let's run that back
one more time.
Yeah,
you have a blind spot when you are oblivious to what is obvious to everybody else. Meaning, you got the log in your eye, but you can't see it, but everybody else can see it.
Right.
It's like, I don't know why people do this, but I think I try to help people out. It's like sometimes when somebody's got spinach in their teeth.
Green.
Or lipstick on their teeth. And nobody will tell them.
Yeah.
But they have no idea. Sometimes we're like that.
Yeah.
We don't know, but everybody else can see it. So sometimes we need somebody, a truth teller in our life that we trust.
Right.
Who can come face to face with us and say, hey man, you got a log in your eye, and do it lovingly, because we don't always see it. And we don't always realize what we're struggling with is impaired vision because of the log in our eye.
Yeah. Ifia says, pause right there. Cheryl said blind spots.
Blind spots. Yeah.
And and it's gonna sound crazy, but this is just what we used to do. My group of friends in college. Yeah. Whenever one of us had, it's gonna sound gross, a booger in the nose.
Right.
Sitting here, we would say, we had this thing, we say, you got people in the house.
Come on.
And because we were friends, we understood that as soon as somebody said it, we knew automatically what they were talking about. And it was a lookout.
Right,
hey man, got people in the house. Man, they're on the front porch, man. This is what we would say.
Yeah.
But like you said, having that relationship, those truth tellers around you, having somebody to just help keep you in that space. I think about Proverbs, faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Yeah.
And people don't understand, if your friend got to cut you to help you, you got to say, okay, because I know this person really cares about me. This 100%. Person really loves me. So if they're telling me this, it's not for them to try to do me bad. You know what I'm saying? So let me take it or receive it. Yeah. That's
an example of that principle. The truth may hurt.
Yes.
Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Right.
Yeah.
And so, we encourage that, you need to, so Gottman, he talks about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. But one of the horsemen we talked about was contempt.
Yeah.
Where you live on low simmer, it's unresolved anger. You never address it. You put it off till next week. And then the least thing happens, there are triggers, constant triggers in your marriage.
Wow.
But the second horseman he talks about is defensive.
Oh boy.
Now, Gottman defines
pull that out
defensiveness. I know. Okay, let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone.
Now, go ahead.
But defensiveness, the defensiveness is about our internal posture. And the way Gottman defines defensiveness is warding off a perceived attack. Wow. So it's like somebody walking around with their dukes up.
Yeah.
And as soon as you say something,
anything,
it's perceived as an attack.
Yes. Yeah.
So a person who is defensive will usually have a difficult time with the truth. Because they perceive it as an attack, constantly like this, right?
Wow.
And so there was something you said that made me go there with that, but we just have to. That's one of the ways you can create a safe space, right? You remove. So let me tell you what the 4 horsemen are. Number 1 is criticism.
Okay. Criticism.
Making one person right and the other person wrong. Meaning, my way is better than yours, and we become critical.
Yeah.
An aspect of criticism is sarcasm.
Oh wow.
We ain't got time to get into that, but sarcasm is when you use humor to cut them down.
Right.
You know exactly what you're saying. You know which buttons to push, but you couch it in humor, right? That's sarcasm. That's criticism with sarcasm. The second horseman we talked about was defensiveness. You're warding off a perceived attack. The third one is contempt, where you're afraid to deal with the issue. You let the sun go down on your wrath and you never confront it, right? And the fourth and final horseman is what Gottman calls stonewalling, where you just shut down.
Wow.
Where no matter what they say,
no
matter what they do, you ain't gonna get nothing out of me.
Yeah. I heard.
I told y'all he was.
I heard somebody say. I can't remember where the quote came from, but they said the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference.
Oh man,
when people just get like you said, stonewall, they just kind of cold to you. If they're reacting to you, even if it's negative, there's still some
right.
But they say when you
indifference.
They just like you not there.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, huge.
Yeah.
You I don't know if I want to bother this, man, but you just touched on something.
Oh man.
Let me leave that alone. About that word indifference. Yeah. Let me leave that alone, but that's a big one.
Because I see people getting cold. I mean, they start to kind of just shut down
and withdraw.
Yeah. I see that happening. It's a sad thing to watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad to say during the pandemic, me and my wife, we had fun.
Yeah.
We enjoyed sitting here together. We talked, we watched old TV shows and all this type of stuff. But that time together was good. And we saw people that were checking out, the divorce rate.
No,
shout out. Yeah. So it was good to just be able to have that.
Yeah.
With my wife, and we still have miles to go with communication, but this information is definitely helpful. And I hope it helped. I know it helped y'all listening. Yeah. I know it helped y'all listening. So we want to apply these things. We get a couple of comments before we get out here. Stephen Powell said, "This is good." Yes, sir. This is good stuff. Ariana Hicks says, "Stonewalling equals trust issues." Oh, okay. All right. So we gonna wrap this up. I mean, we can go all day.
We could.
But I told him, I said, man, you're gonna get on before you know it's gonna be time.
It's gonna be time.
He did say that. He warned me.
You have a good time. You're gonna have a good time.
But no,
this was fantastic.
Oh man, we have enjoyed it. We definitely appreciate you. But we have this thing we do, final thoughts.
Yeah.
So the first final thoughts is on you. So just whatever you want to leave the people with is what you want to just give me your final thoughts.
Yeah. My encouragement to you, if you're out there listening, is don't put this off. Don't avoid it. Turn inward. When you get to the place of indifference, it's usually too late. It means that person has already checked out. They might be under the same roof, might even be in the same bed. My encouragement to you is have the hard conversations now and make room in your relationships where it is safe. Again, Adam and Eve were both naked and unashamed. You have to create environments where you can say, listen, I can trust you with this information and know that I will not be ashamed as a result of having shared it with you. That's my encouragement to you. Turn inward.
All right. So my final thought for this evening is one thing that was constant in today's topic was about you, the person looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So it's really easy for me to tell my wife and my kids what they should be doing.
Yeah.
It gets more difficult when it's me because we want to appear like we have it all together. But if you start dealing with that person in the mirror, it's amazing how much clearer you'll see things around you if you start dealing with that person in the mirror. Yes, I'm pretty. Yes, I'm 6'2", and I got long hair. That's in my mirror. You got to look in the spirit. You got to look in the spirit.
It is
Don't
spirit,
be looking at it. I don't need you to calm down.
They don't come right having no Windex.
Right.
Hey, it's not what I thought. But like I said, look in the mirror, deal with the person in the mirror, and watch how much clearer your surrounding is. And that's my final thought.
Very good.
So I guess I'll finish mine with saying it's amazing how when we look at Adam and Eve, it says they both were naked and unashamed. We talk about intimacy, having that nakedness. It's amazing how quick we are to get physically naked with somebody, but we won't get emotionally naked with them.
So good.
And what happens, and I tell people about my glue analogy, sex is like glue. If you ever had something you were trying to glue together, that glue is loose for a minute, but once it's set, you would have to break whatever it is to get the glue. And when you have sex too soon, you set something improperly. And typically something has to be broken to fix it. So get the intimacy. When I'm talking about the emotional intimacy, actually communicate with people first.
That's good.
Do not go to the physical nakedness first.
Right.
Don't fall into that trap because you will find yourself tied to a person that is really not good for you. And you're struggling to get away from it because now you've committed yourself to something that if you had the information up front, you never would have made that decision. So let's be smart, pull back. Let's have the conversations first. Let's have the communication first and fix this thing right. And that's my final thought.
Very good.
Man.
Thanks again for having me, man. It was a pleasure being here on Man Talk Monday. Yeah,
I feel like you just stuck your toe in the pool. Man.
I know, right?
Oh man, you just switched water, man. This thing.
Yeah, it's a lot deeper.
Phil says y'all need a part 2 of this. Listen. I knew we couldn't get into it. Definitely go and check out the message. Converge Church. You can go to the Facebook page or the website.
Our website is weareconverge.com, or you can find the message on youtube.com/weareconverge or on Facebook, facebook.com/weareconverge.
Make sure you go check it out. Trust me.
Good stuff, man.
We just scratched the surface on the stuff that he shared in that message. It would definitely bless you. Definitely bless you. Where you located? Pastor Ray Harmon in Converge Church?
Yeah, we're in McKinney, just 1 mile north of 380 and 75. We're off of Wilmouth Road, 1611 Wilmouth Road in McKinney. And our service times just at 10 a.m., Sunday mornings at 10.
Sunday mornings at 10.
About 15 minutes from the house, brother.
Come on.
They got that convenience, right? Got that convenience. And if they want to get into your social handles.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Pastor Ray Harmon.
At Pastor Ray Harmon.
I'd love to connect with you there.
All right. Listen, we've enjoyed bringing this to you. We want to give you things that's going to be a blessing to y'all, really help you guys. So we hope that this has helped you. Thank you once again. We definitely appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
And Brenda Houston says, awesome job. Great info. Ariana says she gave the fire emoji. So
send us that fire. Give us that fire.
Give us that fire.
People are enjoying this. So we definitely thank you for coming by and blessing the people with the information that you shared. Well, I guess we're gonna have to get you back at some point in time.
Busy man.
I would love to.
I know. We gotta pin him down. So we're gonna get on the schedule. We're gonna have to get on this schedule.
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank everybody for showing up. We appreciate y'all. We're gonna catch y'all next week with some more.